If you're looking to stop the cycle of getting some clients and then things drying up and then getting clients again in your coaching business, what we call the feast and famine cycle, you're in the right place. Today, I'm going to explain how to set up your marketing and your coaching business to be fully booked without struggling with seasonality. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Fiteni. I have been coaching coaches since 2014. I used to be a web developer. I used to be in marketing, and I also ran my own marketing agency for more than 12 years, and then created my online coaching business back in 2014 with clients worldwide. Today, I'm here to help you stop this feast and famine cycle. So if you're interested in getting fully booked as soon as possible, stay with me till the end. So let's take a look at the problem. The main issue is maybe you've been in business for a year, maybe just a few months, or you're just super fresh, just qualified. And what tends to happen is that in the beginning, you start going to events, perhaps you start meeting people, you start getting referrals. You may start posting on social media. You may start building a website and start posting some blogs, maybe a video on social, and you start slowly getting your visibility. What tends to happen in the beginning is that you're going to have a lot of people in your network where you have been visible for some time. So these people, through simple visibility of maybe through a friend, so if they're friends of friends, you've been visible in their network, there's going to be a certain element of trust, and it's going to be easier for you to make them buy. But what tends to happen over time is that this gives you a bit of a fake bubble of what your marketing is and how it should work. Because you can actually get clients like this without having too much clarity and without having the right strategies in your business. So here's what you need to do. One thing I always tell my clients, extremely important, that works absolutely for everyone. You need to have two marketing strategies, a short-term strategy and a long-term strategy. The short-term strategy serves to give you cash flow right away, because what you want to do is quit that job, go from part-time to full-time in your coaching. You want to have a coaching business that makes at least as much as your previous job. And then, of course, all the way up to fully booked. So you need a short-term strategy to retain the income coming in and slowly growing until your evergreen long-term strategy is working for you. It is, however, the long-term evergreen strategy that is going to become your lead engine that keeps you fully booked. Your short-term strategy is there as, in the beginning, an important boost as time goes along, as that little boost you might inject here and there to keep things even and to keep your roster full, to keep your coaching roster as full as possible. So here's how we go about it. Evergreen content is basically content that's going to stay visible and stack. So that means that apart from the nature of the content, you're also dealing with the platform that the content is sitting on, because visibility is generally more of a platform issue. So putting videos on YouTube is going to give you visibility because videos on YouTube are found in Google search. They are found in YouTube search. They are embedded on your website, so they have visibility for your website traffic. And they can also be emailed to an email list. They can be boosted as an advert. They can, of course, go in so many different places. They also, these days, rank in search results for LLMs like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude. So YouTube videos are a great example of an evergreen strategy that is going to stack. If you're a super new coach, you may have more time than money. And in that case, what you would need to do is actually work really hard on the organic visibility. But before we go into any short-term strategy, if you're pretty new to marketing as a coach, the first thing you need to do is make sure that your foundations are right. Your foundations are the most important thing. You are going to be literally spraying for luck if your messaging is not on point. In order for your messaging to convert and to actually attract the right people and to actually turn them into clients, so you can easily turn them into clients, ideally without even having to sell. I do not believe in selling coaching. I believe in putting the right people in front of the right content and the right package, and then the sale happens naturally. So Basically, what you need to do is have this short-term strategy that is based on strong foundations. And your foundations are three very simple things. You need to know your ideal client really, really well, and obviously have the customer journey mapped out, which the customer journey being, for those of you who don't have a marketing background, the customer journey is basically from the point of the ideal customer feeling that struggle that you resolve to the whole journey to the point where they decide to work with you. So that when we map that journey, obviously is part of our foundations because everything you're going to do in marketing is going to be based on that. Also, once you've done that, you will be able to very easily design and outline the right kind of package and put the right price on it. You can actually find more content about pricing on my website and on my YouTube channel. So I'll add them under this video. Yeah, so obviously the pricing has to be right, but what matters is that not only the package is right, but inside the package, and most coaches actually can deliver what they promise. And what's inside the package is not really what the problem is. We usually just sit down and I guide them and we create a package really quite easily. Usually in one session, we can actually create one or two packages, which is all you need, by the way, in the beginning. And then what matters is your knowledge of the struggle and the messaging. The messaging is everything. The messaging is what brings everything together. Your package, your ideal client, and also, of course, it is extremely important for your website and your marketing. So your foundations need to be clear and they need to be aligned properly. But if you're trying to target too many different people, chances are no matter how much time you're going to put in your marketing, you're still going to get this feast and famine cycle. So that could be one of your issues. Once you get super clear and you manage to focus on one ideal client, the first goal, I'm not saying you cannot have other ideal clients as time goes by, but the first goal needs to be for you to be fully booked with this one ideal client and these one or two packages that actually service their customer journey. Once you have these foundations, your evergreen content is going to be worthwhile. And this is another reason why you need so much clarity. If you need to be really confident that you know who you're talking to and that you're priced right and that what you're doing is going to work. Because in the long term, the evergreen takes a lot of time, takes a lot of investment in terms of creating content. And you need to have the surety. You need to be pretty confident that you're using the right strategy for you and that you have the right messaging, because any of those things could be off and you could be giving up after 6 to 12 months and saying, hey, this evergreen content is really not working for me or it's attracting the wrong people. So very important, foundations, evergreen, really important. For the short term, you have a little bit more leeway. And in fact, your short-term strategy can actually help you feed more information into your foundations. Because if maybe you're a little confused between two market audiences, you can start with a short-term strategy, run some experiments, and then see how it goes. So what is your short-term strategy and how does it fit inside this lead generation engine, inside this client engine that we will create in the long run to actually give you consistent clients, to keep you consistently fully booked? And the short term is the stuff where, unfortunately, it disappears quite quickly. So the short term could be your social media. So any social media platform, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it's great to start building your audience, but anything you put on social media has a very short shelf life. And if you go and search it a month from now, chances are it's going to be really, really hard to find, or actually on some platforms, absolutely impossible. So when we're talking about visibility, we're usually on social media, we're talking 24 to 48 hours, 72 hours, it does well. So of course, it requires a lot more work and it requires also quite an audience. So in the beginning, these two things can be very difficult, especially the audience for someone new. Maybe you don't have that much of a following on social media, which is perfectly normal if you're starting out. We all started from zero, including myself. And it can be really quite hard because you don't have enough. Of course, in the beginning, part of the short-term strategy could be that you have a budget for ads. So going for Facebook or Instagram ads, or also going for Google ads, Google search ads that tend to yield higher quality leads, but tend to be more expensive. So sometimes when I work with clients, we also combine all of these strategies. So one of the things I teach is how to create a lead source from your webinars. Webinars can be a lot of work, but in the beginning, they are the best way to actually warm people up quickly because they don't really know you yet. You don't have a large audience, or you don't have a reputation. So people can come to the webinar. They can see how you coach. They can see what you're like. They can see your perspective on things, and they can warm up to you much faster. And actually, that's a great way of having clients. I am currently teaching the strategy. And although many people out there might say that webinars don't work, there are also those who say that webinars do work. I can assure you that for my clients, for coaches, they are actually working today, and they're actually effectively creating lead sources and lead funnels for my clients. I consider this short term because a webinar is a spurt. So a webinar is going to help you build your email list because you're going to get people to register to come to your webinar. You're building your email list. It's going to have an effect on your social media. People are going to follow you because they're going to see that there's activity and that you're talking about, the webinar while you launch it. And then they're going to actually come to the webinar itself. The webinar is also going to give you potentially a lot of content to repurpose. And you're going to be able to pitch your clients. This is one of the things that I teach. Pitching, making the right pitch, choosing the right webinar is extremely important. And then also you can fill it organically, or you can fill it with ads if you have an ad budget. Now, this is a short-term strategy that can also complement the long-term strategy. So, if you know that there are certain times of the year when we actually go in with a webinar, we can completely kill that seasonality and really keep everything on an even keel, even traffic all year round. But basically, you can have a couple of things. So you can have a webinar, ideally live. A lot of people ask me about evergreen webinars. That's definitely not step one. It's not even step 2, 3, or 4. That should come further down the line. In the beginning, you're testing, you're getting to know your audience, and the information you get from doing live webinars is extremely important. Although it can be a little bit taxing in the beginning, putting in the effort to really learn how to do webinars is really, really worthwhile. There are also those who want to avoid the webinar, and that's perfectly fine. Some people create a different kind of funnel where they have a sales page for their packages with a video, and they run different types of ads to that. They can run Google ads or Facebook ads. That's another short-term strategy. It can be a little bit hard because you do need, it's not a one-off and it's not going to work right away. You have to fine tune the video, you have to fine tune the traffic. So it is a strategy that can work, but it doesn't work out of the gate right away. So it's going to give you a little bit of time to troubleshoot. So that's another viable short-term strategy though. And possibly the most sort of budget-less short-term strategy that you can use is then social media. Now, social media varies between different industries. In the coaching industry, it can really be tied to your long-term strategy. And this is what I like to do best, because repurposing your long-term content into effective short-term content is an art, but it saves you so much time. And then you feel so collected, so calm, so focused because you have the clarity. You know exactly what you're selling. You're creating your long-term content, which is going to feed your engine to keep you fully booked after a few months. Most of my clients see this beginning to happen between 8 and 12 months. By 18 months, this engine is usually running. And so they have consistent leads coming in through their organic content. Obviously, there's a formula, there's a frequency, there's a few details to go in that need to happen, but it is perfectly possible to create this kind of engine. And then in the short term, so for the beginning 6 to 12 months until we start seeing things gearing up, we want to go all in on social media. We want to go all in on the face-to-face networking. I also help some of my clients, because I have a fair bit of experience in that, actually creating corporate packages sometimes, because that's another short-term way of actually getting cash flow into your business. Because one of the most important mindset changes that you can do in this case is actually to think of the long term. So you need to think, what can I do in the short term to keep myself in business until my long term is working? And if you actually approach your business like that and do everything you can to make an income and stay in business with the short-term strategies while you're also putting your long-term strategy out there, in about a year, you are going to have a sustainable online coaching business. Again, it doesn't have to be online only. It can also be hybrid. I also teach my clients a lot of offline strategies. I have a lot of experience selling, especially in my agency. And also, I did start off having a few face-to-face clients locally. So it is also very possible to manage the offline with the online. Online marketing generally takes longer or more effort. Like we said, with the webinar strategies, the strategies together, they're going to give you a great roadmap to really know in the first 12 to 18 months how you're going to build a coaching business that replaces your full-time income. If you're interested in getting this roadmap, I have actually created it for you. Just comment the word roadmap under this video and I will send it to you. Basically, what the roadmap includes is very simple: your options, your potential budget, and also how you couple that with your evergreen strategy. Okay, so I think that is more or less everything I had for you today. There's just one little detail I would like to focus on, and that is how are you going to go to social media and actually create a short term strategy that works? Now, of course, every platform is different, but generally, what I'm seeing right now is that LinkedIn and Instagram are the two best platforms that are working for my clients. Obviously, Instagram comes with kind of attachment to Facebook, so you can duplicate everything on Facebook and get perhaps a few leads there, but it varies a lot in different countries. Like the country where I'm in, which is Malta, everybody's on Facebook, so that can actually still work. But there are countries where Facebook is used a lot less. You got to sort of pick your battles. But Instagram is a great one for coaches. Again, going in with video, repurposed video, going in with the right message, having different goals is going to be very important. And also learning how to engage in DMs so that you can push people towards working with you. Again, not push in the pushy way, but help them understand. Because once you've gone through the whole process of understanding the customer journey, like we mentioned before, it's going to be very easy for you to guide someone on a discovery call or in a chat in one of the social media platforms to actually understand whether they're ready to work with you. And you can also understand whether they're the right match for your packages. Okay, so I could go deeper and deeper in that, but I'm going to leave it here for today. Thank you very much for following, and I'll see you next week.